York Islanders are a franchise filled with history, years and years of it. In the early 1970s, hockey was brought to Long Island. Hockey has been in New York City since the early 1920s, but the residents of Long Island were excited for their own team. The Nassau Coliseum was constructed in the summer of 1972, and they kicked off their first season that winter. Their first few years were hopeless, finishing in the bottom 8 every season, and in 1972, finishing last. There was hope in 1975. The Islanders made it to their first playoff appearance, then made it to the semifinals. And over the next 5 years, the Islanders made it to the semifinals 4 more times, but failed to make it any further than that. They had great regular season success, but always came up short in the playoffs. They wanted change. That change came in 1980. Star players Mike Bossy and Brian Trottier were putting up career-high numbers. Their chemistry was second to none. They also traded for Butch Goring. Butch isn't credited to being the best player by any means, but he was an excellent two-way player that made it easier for Bossy and Brian. They advanced to the finals and beat the Flyers in 6 games. For the first time in franchise history, the Islanders were Cup champions. The next year, they did it again, all thanks to Mike Bossy, who scored 50 goals in 50 games, a huge achievement to top off another Stanley Cup ring. They only lost 3 games throughout the duration of the playoffs that year. The Dynasty continued in 1982, a dominant season for the Islanders. The team set a franchise record with 118 points. They swept the Cinderella Story Canucks in the finals for their 3rd cup in a row. They tied the record for most Stanley Cups in a row in 1983. The Oilers were an up-and-coming team led by superstar Wayne Gretzky. Gretzky was shattering records, and that posed a threat to the Islanders' dynasty. When they met in the finals, the Islanders ended up sweeping the Oilers and winning their 4th cup in a row. Wayne Gretzky did not score in those finals. Next year, the Islanders and Oilers had a rematch in the Stanley Cup Finals. The Oilers came out on top 4-1, ending the dynasty that tied the record for most consecutive Stanley Cups and set the record for most consecutive series wins. The Islanders made history in those 4 years, going back to back to back to back. It was an incredible run that has yet to be repeated. Since then, they have yet to win another Stanley Cup. They have now relocated to the Barclays Center. They have poor attendance and their franchise is currently at stake. However, in the 80s, hockey was anything but dead on Long Island. Games were being won, rinks sold out, and history was being made.